everyone, it's Linda G, and I'm here today with your favorite, Sterling,
Good
on a
morning,
Sunday.
everybody. Yep, always a pleasure to be here and in the throes of Linda.
And it's how's the weather down there? It's a little cooler today, thank
Yeah,
God.
no complaints whatsoever. No fires or floods, so we're okay. We're okay.
Good, good. And thank you to Dan and to Linda for this putting these questions together.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's always I don't know how many came through, but there were hundreds last time I looked. So
Yeah, so that's always good. That means people still need us. Okay, so first question, will our democracy survive?
yeah, I mean, absolutely 100%. And this is, I always get these are some of the similar challenges that they had way back when the country was born. But we're going through another cycle here, and it'll absolutely survive. But everybody's going to rise to the occasion across politics and the population, voting. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Good, good. Sterling, are American spies exposed? Are people safe?
And I think that's probably related to the leakage of documents from 45. Yeah, I got there is some significant exposure overseas. There is, but I get that the federal agencies involved have already kind of moved people around. So they already.
Well, that's why I think they even went after him, because I think somebody's saying, "Hey, listen, they're on us. Who gave intel?"
Right.
And while they were looking, they saw Trump had taken the intel.
Yeah, exactly. So they already know where the vulnerabilities are. They're moving people around. The bad news is, though, it takes years, sometimes 5-10 years, to reestablish spies, so to speak, in other locations for them to get the right kind of intelligence on the ground. So,
right.
The bad news is we're going to lose time with this whole situation. So,
okay, yeah, but him saying that he's going to sue and they're going to do lawsuits, it's a bunch of bluff, because really at the end of the day, the courts would say, even the Supreme Court would say, you had no right to take intel with you. Not
exactly. Yeah.
3, is there more than one mole who has flipped to give DOJ evidence of crimes, particularly documents stolen or deals made? Wow.
Yeah, there's at least a dozen. I don't want to call them moles, but they're people that are looking out after the country. So I get over a dozen insiders in all levels of the organization have already released information, back to the federal government to say, this didn't look right to us. Take a look at this. So
right. Well, that the people talking at January 6th are all Republicans. It's not a Democratic conspiracy.
Right.
One of 10 Republican congressional representatives who voted to impeach 45, many are not returning to Congress. Will the crazies win the general elections?
It's kind of a multi-layered question there. I guess are they asking whether the Democrats are going to take the House and Senate, kind of a thing?
Well, they're saying, well, the Republicans, the crazies.
Well, here's what I get on that. I get that a lot of the MAGA candidates are still going to be in the race. So that's true. But that doesn't mean they're going to win the seat that they're going after, if that makes sense.
And listen, right now the polling shows them all losing. Dr. Oz, all that, even that woman from Arizona that said because of what happened with Trump, if she becomes governor, she'll succeed Arizona from the union. You know how much money Arizona gets?
Good luck with that.
Okay. One night about 9 o'clock, I heard a loud noise coming from the bathroom. Ooh. I walked into the bathroom and it sounded like there was an exhaust fan right in the middle of the room. It was bizarre. And I finally decided it must be coming from the second floor right below me. The next day, my neighbor below me called to tell me that my bathroom exhaust fan was too loud. Wow. That the next morning, there was a particular sound next to my bed. It sounded like someone was trying to start up a motor, and then it puttered out. About a week later, there was a loud bang sound in the middle of the living room. What is happening? That's interesting.
Yeah, what's interesting about that is that that describes almost the beginning of the opening of a portal. but here's the thing. But in my experience directly, that when you start hearing glass breaking and there's no glass breaking, those are things coming through the portal. Now, so everything she's describing there is almost a portal almost opening. And I'm making the assumption that they know there's no plumbing problems in the building, right?
Right.
Because a lot of plumbing problems can cause those noise. But if we assume that they've already,
But it was so loud that the neighbor downstairs said your exhaust fan was too loud.
Yeah, that's the beginning of a portal opening. But what I get in that instance is that that portal's not going to completely open.
Okay. Okay. Oh my gosh, I'd be moving, I'd be packing my stuff.
Well, if they hear glass breaking and there's no glass breaking, that's time to move. Yeah,
Okay.
That's when you know that now the portal is getting used.
Okay, thank you.
So,
the violence in Mexico has been terrible this August. The drug cartels have gone to war and innocent people are getting caught in the crossfire. Do you see any reduction in drug-related violence in Mexico?
Not for a good 4 to 5 years, but the reason for that is that, money is ruling that whole country, right? So it's drug money. And it's going to take a while, a good 4 to 5 years for green technology dollars to try to shift around how that country's driven.
Right.
So that's really the key, is the whole economic engine. It was Mexico is going to shift towards green technology. So not for like another 5 years, just looking to have some pretty good sizable violence, unfortunately. Yeah.
Oh, that's a shame. Why is Russia making statements about owning Trump and having our defense secrets? Are the statements true?
Well, they are. And they're also, what I get out of that is that they're actually trying to make it clear that they can exert leverage over the U.S. So it's some saber rattling, saying, look, here's another leverage we have, another lever we have over the U.S. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, although I don't trust Putin as far as I could throw, he lies about everything, but I think he's telling the truth. Oh, yeah, we already got your secrets.
Yeah, no, I think in this case, he's telling the truth. Yeah. Take that to the bank. Yeah.
When a loved one passes, does a religious service help their soul transition?
No, but let me be clear. So whether their soul transitions well or not is not definitively based on the service they had or lack of a service. But what's interesting is the amount of love you send to somebody or a loved one that passed on, it does help them with their journey.
Okay.
So it almost like gives them like wind behind their back. So
okay,
that's true.
That makes total sense to me.
Yeah.
Will the American people be able to know who the big donors are behind the corrupt GOP?
We already do.
I think we are. I just heard that.
No, we already do. And for entertainment purposes, we're not going to list them here.
Yeah.
But
I feel like we know.
You can look back easily just over 2 decades in this country, and it's been in the Wall Street Journal, once a month. Yeah. So we know where all the money's coming from. Yeah.
Right. Are any of the documents TFG took to Mar-a-Lago fake? Does anyone switch the documents before TFG took them to protect the U.S. secret info? That's interesting.
No, they're all real.
I felt like they were real.
They're all real. They actually, fortunately, unfortunately, they weren't smart enough to think that through. Mm-hmm. So, no, they didn't get ahead of it. They were the real documents.
Right. Will elementary students be required to learn in school meditation, distressing techniques, things of this nature to handle stress in the future?
They already are. But I do see just within a few short years, maybe within 2 years here, with new educational programs coming in and funding, that meditation time or relaxation time is going to be as important as like phys ed. So like you have recess in school, there'll be like 10, 15 minutes of like meditation or quiet time. No, it's already starting, and I do see it getting widespread adoption. Yeah.
They need that. They sure do.
Yeah.
Why is the GOP so open with all their plans that are obviously not popular or good for our country, like getting rid of Social Security and Medicare? Are they that out of touch, or do they think they can just take over by cheating?
Kind of double nested question in there. Yeah. My answer to that, what I'm being told here, is that they're appealing to a very small focused base of voters, which is all about, me, myself, and I, right? Right. Everything for me. so they don't think they're out of touch. They're appealing to that very vocal minority. And on the side, they know that they have levers they can pull for cheating. That's true. But that doesn't, for me, that doesn't control their platform. Their platform is driven by that small vocal minority. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
DeSatan was just announced that he's passing a law that Florida pensions may not invest in companies that are pushing clean energy, equal rights, etc. Profit can be the only criteria used to making investment decisions. He calls it part of his anti-woke agenda, and wants to make sure those companies do not benefit from Florida's $200 billion pension accounts. What do your guys have to say about this?
What they have to say is that strategy is short-lived. I think there's a vote coming up next week for that.
Oh, there is?
That's what I'm being told.
Oh, because Tuesday's their big day. So is it on the ballot?
Oh, they just told me the vote's coming up next week.
Oh my God.
And but the new governor that gets in there will reverse that. So
Okay.
it looks like it's going to get slammed down, meaning DeSantis is going to get his way, but only until the next governor gets in there. So,
well, they said that whole woke, you can't say this or that, is against the First Amendment. The judge told him, you're in Stranger Things. You're totally out of there. Yeah, but I just had a reading this morning with a client who's in Florida and says, oh my, they love DeSatan.
Interesting. I was in the news this week that he took out a number of books. Was it in Florida? The Diary of Anne Frank and even the Bible. So they take out the Bible and the Diary of Anne Frank, but they allow AR-15s. So that makes sense to me.
Doesn't make any sense. Hi, Sterling. Will they ever find Keely Rodney? She went missing from our hometown a few weeks ago. Kylie Rodney. I wonder where her location was.
That story was all over the news, and I feel her around. Interestingly enough, I think that was Truckee. I think she in California, Truckee.
Yeah.
So here's what I get on that is this is a rather difficult situation. So for anybody out there that's connected to her, this is a difficult situation. What I will tell you, what I'm getting is wherever the vehicle is at, I'm getting pretty strongly it's in water.
I felt water too. Oh my God.
So now, I mean, just the news reports that were circulating was I think she was at a party in Lake Tahoe.
And she went on a particular freeway in the middle of the night.
Yeah, but I don't believe the car or the SUV she was in Lake Tahoe. It's in some other waterway. And what I get is that they're going to be able to find like tracks down a ravine or something like down a hillside. Now, I hope she's not in the vehicle. I mean, I don't want the family to give up hope, but it's pretty tenuous. So
yeah, I guess and her cell phone went out right away. And like last night, my sister said, what makes a cell phone go out right away? Because even if she was kidnapped or something, it's usually the cell phone works. And I said, if it was submerged in water.
Yeah, and I get that. Unfortunately, the authorities, at least initially, weren't going down that avenue. So they weren't looking for her in water. So I think they're going to find everything they need. And I pray the family gets the answers that they need. So,
okay. Yeah, they'll find her, but I feel water submerged. Yeah. Okay. For entertainment purposes only. Oh, this is interesting. In the future, will there be laws written and psychological tests given to politicians to qualify to run for office?
100%. And actually, it's going to happen in the new Congress. So in the new Congress, there'll be part of the guidelines they lay out. Yeah.
Were there any documents sold or shown to Saudis at the Gulf events held at Mar-A-Lago?
I think whoever asked the question is probably referring to the Leave golf event, but that was in New Jersey, I think at Bedminster. I think that question says Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah.
So maybe they mean the New Jersey.
They probably meant Trump's other golf course.
Yeah. Unfortunately, there was some sort of exchange of information at the Bedminster, New Jersey golf event.
But the biggest exchange has happened already with Jared Kushner.
Sure.
What will the outcome be on an investigation into Barr's handling of the Mueller report? I love it. That's waking up again.
Yeah, yeah. Um, well, this was in the news, but I'm going to answer this question this way. I think there was a memorandum released, right? It was a Mueller
Yeah,
memo that was released, and they were the instructions on how Barr should handle 45. So I do see that memo driving a lot of now legal action against Barr and against
yeah,
several other authorities. So that memo is the trigger. Yeah, so I do
yeah.
see that
Because he
moving
said
forward.
this
Yeah,
is a nothing burger. There's nothing to see here, and
right,
that was a total lie. That's why Mueller came in and testified, and they said, "Would you
exactly.
have arrested him?" He said, "Absolutely."
Yep, absolutely.
He's a pure and present danger. Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Because I believe years ago when you and I were talking, we always saw Barr coming up with his just desserts and the Mueller report not being a nothing burger. Remember, we just said something would happen that
Right.
catapults it, and it would probably have to be the new president in office.
By the way, I think he was on a talk show, or this came out in the news last couple of days, where Barr said, "I didn't really read the report, and that 45 just told me it was a kind of a nothing burger." And so obviously it was. I can't, who knows why he would say something like that.
It's a lie.
That's a ridiculous thing to say for an attorney general. I didn't read it. I took 45's
Word
word
for it.
that it was nothing.
Because the first thing Trump did was say, "I'm exonerated."
Right.
Yeah, he spun
Crazy.
it just right. He spun it just. He made that. Him and Rosenstein and everybody standing out there made that. Yeah, basically, yeah, basically the president is exonerated. No, he wasn't. Okay, years ago, my 2-year-old niece was spending the night with me. During the night, I woke up to see white lights, kind of felt like at the airport runway lights, traveling up and down her body. It scared me and I quickly turned the light on. Can you tell me what this was? Wow, 2 years old.
That was what I get on that's like healing intervention from like a guardian angel or birth angel. Now you only see that when whoever the individual is that's receiving that extra care and attention, they needed it for some reason. So
Right.
whoever's asking the question, that it was a child, right? It was
Yes,
a
a little
daughter.
2-year-old little girl.
Yeah. So there was something there that they needed a little bit of help on.
Okay.
So
I felt like it wasn't bad at all.
no, it's you witnessed a healing going on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love it. I was wondering if Mike Pence will testify in the House, the January 6th committee.
I get 100%. I get 100%. Yeah.
Okay, when we pass, will we be able to interact with animals that are considered dangerous here? Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. But you don't get the same kind of physical harm, if you will, when you're in heaven, right?
Okay.
So, you don't experience an alligator bite on your arm or taking your arm off or
Yeah.
something. Yeah, you don't experience that. No.
Will there be radioactive fallout within the Ukraine or Europe due to the Russians' occupation of Zaporizhia? I can't pronounce it. Nuclear power plant in Ukraine.
Yeah, and that's the largest nuclear power plant in Europe. So
And
what
I
I
know
get,
Putin's already acting like he's going to do something with it.
so yeah, what I get on that is that there is going to be a minor leak, but nothing that's the size of like a Chernobyl disaster. Or Chernobyl, they had a runaway meltdown of the reactor and they couldn't control it. It does look like there's going to be some leakage. So almost they hit some cooling pipes or something, and then they're able to take care of it. So it looks like a
Okay.
minor leak to me from an explosion, but
If he
not a
actually did
runaway.
something to create a major event, that's when we would be at war. And I don't see war.
Yeah, and I don't
And
see
I also feel the ETs are on this.
well, they are. They're all over the world, but I just don't see a Chernobyl style disaster there
Me
at that.
neither. I don't see it
No,
either.
no.
A Republican others gained unauthorized access to compromise tabulators in Michigan. Will they get any prison time?
Yes, I get yes, and it
Good.
looks like there's at least half a dozen tabulators
Right.
that somebody was tampering with or doing something in a home or or like a hotel room or something, like
Yeah, it was
something that
underhanded.
was like hidden in a room or a hotel room or something. But yes, they actually have all the evidence that they tried to tamper with them. They'll get some jail time. Yeah.
One night I was falling asleep. What looked like a face of a Native American man rushed towards my face and stared at me. I was startled and the face disappeared. I know in my the land my house is on is Lenape land, which was this a ghost or a possible guide?
I think that land they're referring to is Indian land. I
Yes.
think on the East Coast, like Delaware, New Jersey, or something. Yeah, so that was a Native American spirit. That wasn't a guide, but that was a
Okay.
Native American spirit connected to that Indian land.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you guys think there are any gold bars in Fort Knox to back to the dollar?
There are, but I see somehow that like 25% of them have been leveraged or else they've been moved.
Wow.
So that it's going to get replaced. So there's something going on here where prior administrations, I wouldn't say it's even 45, they bled off some of the gold to sustain the economy, something here. So yeah, they're still there, but they got to replace like a quarter of them. Yeah.
Do you see anything coming up next week?
I do. Several different areas here. Unfortunately, I see a couple of things coming up that always concern me. A little bit of some terrorist activity in Central Europe. It doesn't look like any kind of major catastrophic event like a human loss, but it looks like bridge or building destruction, something going on here, some terrorist activity. There also looks like there's another lone wolf event coming up this week for an FBI office. But I think the FBI is on heightened alert.
Oh, they're really listening to any
The
kind
chatter,
of chatter.
the chatter, yeah. And I do see there's something coming up here regarding like increased focus on education, but funding like getting approved this week. So to try to get teachers, so like some sort of emergency or push through from the Inflation Reduction Act or something to try to get teachers, into the mix. Yeah. And strong movement on the monkeypox vaccine to make sure it's not a pandemic. That's happening. New announcements coming out on the new variant that we're going to have here that's coming up the end of the year. So
variant from COVID?
The COVID variant. And I also see great progress here on the next vaccine, which is going to be a dual vaccine. So it'll cover everything that was with the pandemic plus everything coming. Okay. So there'll be a dual vaccine. So that's all.
It's almost like the flu vaccine.
Well, this one will be definitely a strictly COVID vaccine, but we'll get kind of the endemic vaccine out into next year, like middle of next year. So,
okay.
Yeah. So a lot of activity coming up. Oh, and some flooding coming for California.
I know. I've been seeing.
No, but I think we're going to start to see something this week.
Already this week?
Yeah, in certain areas of California, it could be more central California. Yeah. So
I unfortunately even bought a boat.
It may not affect.
I can feel it.
You're gonna buy a boat?
I did buy a boat.
Oh, good for you. Okay.
Just
inflatable.
It fits 5. It's like a rescue boat.
Sure.
That's how sure I am it's going to happen. I'm not quite sure about where the county I'm at. I'm not in a flood zone, but I still don't trust it.
Yeah, I think Northern California this week are going to be okay, but more Central California, but more inland. So yeah, well, these things are coming. So I think everybody.
Europe and Paris. Did you see the god awful weather in Paris? My God, it's going to happen. We can't help it. It's part of the cleansing of the universe. Well,
it's also part of global warming, which is humankind had a lot to do with it. So
well, when that first question about will we ever be, a democracy again? I feel that because of this Armageddon stuff that's coming up with hurricanes and even earthquakes, etc., I feel that kind of gets people out of their own way and bring it together because everybody's just trying to survive. You know what I'm saying? It feels like even
it creates more of a unification of humanity. You're talking about, yeah, absolutely. So
like Biden made sure Kentucky got everything they needed. So. The ones that hate him will get less hateful because, we need help. So they're going to try to finagle and figure it out.
No, I agree. I agree.
But I had a woman that is supposed to be intuitive too. tell me there's a good sized earthquake coming in my area this next year. And I was feeling a good sized earthquake, but I didn't feel my area. But it doesn't matter. I'll survive no matter what.
Mhm.
I got a tent too. You know what I'm saying? Oh, and my friend who's a fireman in Florida, he sent me a package. You know, he said, put this in your boat. He sent me coffee, number one, but it's ground coffee. But how are you going to make coffee? I guess you can get some boiling water. And he
Yeah.
sent me a package of M&Ms. So those M&Ms are gone. So he needs to send me some more.
Well, by the way, in any emergency, coffee's important.
Really?
Remember the movie Airplane, right? Remember the movie Airplane, the
Yeah.
comedy? Well, I mean, the whole plane was going to crash. It was headed down. The pilot was gone, and everybody in the cabin was just fine. And they said, "Oh, by the way, we're out of coffee." And then everybody panicked. So I remember that. Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Do you have anything your guys want to share?
They do this week, and I've heard this several times this week. Live your life with purpose, and then kind of move that purpose out to the world, because that only not helps you, but helps everybody around you. So really define your purpose and live it, and then move it out to the world. Yeah.
Right. And some people have a hard time even knowing what their purpose is. What do you recommend?
It takes working with your guides and angels, and
Get out of your own head.
and develop some real-time communication, however it works for you. Even if you're getting random thoughts, you can validate those thoughts. But it's always good for everybody to have that real-time communication with your team. Absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you, my friend. Another
Well,
wonderful
two
Sunday.
quick notes. I always get asked how to reach me. So just sterlingpsychicmedium.com, look for the book of session tab. And then I also have my own YouTube channel. I know we put a link down all the time, but people always ask. So on YouTube, you just search for Sterling Psychic Medium and you'll find it.
Yeah, he's there. Trust me. Awesome, my friend. And
All right.
subscribe too.
Wonderful getting
Do you have
together.
a contest on with your subscribers?
We do. Yeah. Every time we go up 1,000 subscribers, I give away a free half-hour session. I think we're headed towards 26,000 right now. So yeah.
Awesome. Awesome.
Lots of fun.
Awesome. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you. Always a pleasure.
Bye, you guys. Hope you enjoy. Cheers.
Take care.